everyone, welcome back to another Make It Meaningful. I'm Garden Girl Jen Gallagher. So this week we've been talking about moments, and I want to talk about when you have kids, especially teenagers, it is really difficult to capture any of their moments. They are off and gone and they are not waiting around. So sometimes honestly you have to stop and create those moments. So my daughter attends school dances from time to time, and when she goes, she's prepping, she's getting ready, and we've kind of gotten in this system about 20 minutes before her date is destined to arrive. We do a little quick photo shoot. That's about all the time she's willing to give me to do this photo shoot. So we go outside if it's sunny or indoors if it's not, and we take a moment. We make sure that we take that moment and we start taking a few photos. I try and capture details of her dress or the way she's done her hair or her makeup. I try and get her to relax a little bit, which is hard to do when your date's about to come in 20 minutes. But sometimes, especially with older children or even newborn babies or kids, it's important to create the moments. Sometimes moments happen organically and you can capture them, but don't be afraid to also make those moments happen. Set them up, create a photo shoot, go in with colors that you want to use, capture them in the moment. So this week I am doing a mini album about my daughter going to a preference dance at her school, and I'm using photos from a moment that we created together. So let's go ahead and get started. So to create an album, I usually start with the 6x6 pattern paper pad. And a lot of the times these pads are scaled down. This is not the actual pad that I used for the project because I used it up already. I'm just showing you after the fact. But you can use any paper pad that you have. And then to create a tag, you simply remove one of the pieces of pattern paper. And then you determine how wide you want your tag. And I honestly just eyeballed it, but you can use the measurements on your cutting machine to cut whatever size tag you want. The only thing is that you need to make sure that it is uniform, whatever you do. And then one trick that I use to get a tag is I will take one corner using my scissors and I will trim it off. Then I take that piece, I flip it to the other side, and I trim it off again. And then to the very top, I will add a hole. You can also use a silhouette die cut machine, or if you have a manual die cut in the shape of a tag, or really any shape. You could do a heart, you could do circles. This is how I create the basis and the foundation for a mini album. Then a mini album is a great opportunity to use up your stash. Some of the things that I might consider are letter stickers, maybe some smaller scale items that I've been hoarding, older items. I like to look for things with texture. You can bring in things like washi tape, things that I've used quite a bit of, but I still have leftover pieces. And then I always look for more generic things like labels or hexagon shapes or things. You can also bring in stamps and tools. You could bring in markers for journaling, but this is a great opportunity to shop your supplies and find elements. The key things I would look for is we're going to be creating this tag album, and because it was about my daughter going to preference, I tried to select things that were softer in nature, more feminine, and kind of matched the theme. So that would be my only guideline, is whatever theme you're doing, whatever milestone you're recording, is that you shop your supplies accordingly. So let me go ahead and show you the inner pieces of this beautiful album. So I'm going to show you the completed album. After gathering all the supplies to record this milestone, it was quick and easy to put together, but it still takes a couple hours to completely assemble start to finish. You start by creating the tags, and then you start adding embellishments on top. To the cover, I used some leftover transparencies, some vellum sheets, chipboard enamel dots, and you can see I've created a reinforcer on every single page. Now you're not limited by whatever pattern is on the back of the pattern paper. You can see if I peel this apart that this particular pattern paper had a different pattern, but I wanted this blue pattern paper, so I simply cut the tag and attached it on the back. Incorporating some flare badges, some embossing folders, and some washi tape. I wanted to capture the back of her dress for this particular milestone because it was a really pretty element on her dress. And then I just picked photos of the night as she's getting ready for her date, and we always snap a few photos before her date gets there. Again, 6x6 pattern paper chipboard elements, and on the other side just a part of a doily, an element that fit perfectly in the circle of the doily. This is a longer shot of her. I've changed them all to black and white so that she really shines and the embellishments don't fight against the colors, although her dress was black. But it's up to you whether you leave them colored or not. I've incorporated some photo corners at the bottom. On the other side, again, leftover doily. This particular pattern paper, this is the front and back. What helps me determine what to use is sometimes if I have paper next to each other, I'll go with a tone-on-tone followed by a more busy pattern. So lots of options. Some twine, leftover embellishments and paper that I've cut. Nautical is really hot right now, so I strategically placed this particular chipboard right where the ribbon will go. Sequins attached with glue dots, and then I printed with my typewriter, or rather my computer printer, right onto a tag that I had, and her name. Lots of smaller photos for this because this is more of a wallet-sized album. Again, leftover banner pieces. I always try and keep them on hand. I don't throw them away. Tools are great for 6x6 paper pads because a lot of 6x6 paper pads are scaled down so that the pattern is a little bit smaller. So two tools that I use often are things like punches and border punches. 2 butterflies with buttons tied with twine in the center, and then I finished it off with one of my favorite photos of her. Now to assemble the album, I simply took some ribbon and I cut it at an angle, giving it a little bit of a sharp edge. And you can also use an office ring that is large enough that allows you to flip the pages, but ribbon will definitely do for this project. And you can see that it's starting to fray a little bit. You can recut it at any point. I always cut it a little bit longer in case this happens. You can also use nail polish or fabric stiffener to keep it from fraying. But I never mind it fraying at the beginning. And then I'm going to tie it loosely in a knot so that I can turn the pages, and then from there I'll tie it into a bow. And then you can trim off any extra ribbon. But that gives you the basis for an album that discusses the milestone of my daughter going to a school dance. So thank you for joining me for today's Make It Meaningful video. Be sure to subscribe to the Two Piece YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of these videos.